Well, good morning to all of the Missouri Mid-South that is here and joining us today. And I am Damian Lake, your Associate Conference Minister. A lot of familiar faces on here, but you may not all have met me or know me, but I'm glad to be with you today as I'm kind of hosting this meeting for us today, or this workshop, which is entitled Retiring Well. And so we have some guests with us today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves in a minute. And they are from our pension board from the United Church of Christ. And so we are glad to have that. Just a few reminders. We are recording this workshop so that we can offer that to put it on our YouTube channel later, so that folks who weren't able to attend this morning are able to watch it at their convenience later on. And if you have questions, we're going to encourage you to use the chat box to ask those questions. There may be an opportunity as well for you to just unmute at times and ask those questions out loud as well. So we'll be maintaining and watching the chat, but we are glad to have you with us. And I'm going to let our two guests introduce themselves, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much, Damian. So my name is Anna Blandino, and I am one of the pension counselors at the pension boards. I've been with the pension boards for 16 years and counting. And my primary duty that I do, what I mainly do with the pension boards, is I talk with our future retirees and retirees, answering questions and concerns that they have regarding entering into retirement, as well as other concerns they have just regarding our plans in general.
And my name is Baharu Mengistu. I'm also a pension counselor. I've only been with the pension boards for the past year and a half, but I've been working in retirement benefits for over 15 years as well. I've been learning with Anna about the particulars of the pension boards, but I found that I'm speaking with those members who are also going to be retiring or are looking to plan out their retirement has been really beneficial, and I've been able to see a lot that our members, both clergy and lay, have been involved with, and the concerns that they have, and I'm glad I've been able to address those.
Wonderful. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and I do have a presentation for you, but I want you to feel free again to use the chat to ask any questions, and I have allowed for time at the end so we can have a conversation regarding any additional questions or concerns that you have. So I am going to share my screen with you now, and I'm going to go ahead and open up this presentation. So retiring well. So on your path within your calls, you are all planning for retirement. You're thinking about planning for retirement. You should be thinking about planning for retirement. One of the things that I definitely want to do is I want to make sure that I have a moment to introduce you to the pension boards. So many of you are participating in the pension boards and maybe don't know quite what the pension boards is. You know that you've received a call and your employer's making contributions on your behalf, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of an introduction regarding the pension boards. So we're an affiliated ministry with the United Church of Christ. And of course, within the pension boards, we have 22,000 members who are actively participating in our plans, whether it's the annuity plan, the health plan, dental plan, different plans that we offer. We serve 2,500 different employers, and the pension boards is governed by a board of trustees that is elected by the members of the pension boards. The assets at the pension boards, meaning my contributions and your contributions at the pension boards, are managed by the pension board's investment team and the outside consultants that we contract for your benefit. So they are not church-owned funds. These are member-owned funds that are managed by the pension boards on behalf of our members. One of the most important things that I always want to stress to anyone that I'm speaking to about the pension boards is that we are there for our members. Our mission is operating at the interfaith at the intersection of faith and finance. We do care about our members, and we want to facilitate and answer any questions and concerns that you have along your path towards retirement, whether you're a new pastor starting a first-time call, a mid-career pastor thinking about what options and elections you'd like to make, and what changes you may need to make sure that you're on the right path, so that when you are near the end of your career, you've made decisions that will benefit you as you are approaching retirement and preparing for that next phase in life. The pension boards not only offers the annuity plan where you have with your different employers are having contributions made for your benefit for retirement. We also offer other benefits like life insurance benefits and medical and dental benefits. Typically, those are contractually agreed to with the minister and the church and are typically paid by the employer, but they can be paid by the member. And of course, we do offer other plans that are available that can be paid by or contributed to by the member themselves, which means you, the person participating in the plans. The Employee Retirement Contribution Account, or the ERCA account, which I'll refer to from time to time, formerly known as the TSA, so some of you may know it as the TSA account, is available, and I'm going to go into that in a little more detail a little later on. The rollover account, of course, the flex savings account or the flex benefits plan, which can work hand in hand with any health plan that you are in. And we do also, in addition to the basic life insurance that we offer optional additional coverages for our members, for dependents, and of course, a vision plan as well. So now I have a few questions for you, and nobody has to answer these out loud, but these are just really for you to think about as we are having discussions regarding thinking about retiring well and what steps you should be taking in order to retire. So did you know that we spend more time planning for our vacations? And we won't count 2020 and 2021 right now, but in the past, most folks spent more time planning for retirement than they did more time planning for vacation than they did planning for retirement. And I actually just read a recent study from the Employee Benefits Research Institute, and this is data that was collected in 2019, that most Americans are retiring between the age of 60 and 64. So if you take a member who's retiring at age 62 and they live statistically till age 83, that's 21 years of potential retirement that they are going to be needing to fund. So if that individual spent 42 years working and they're going to be retired for about 21 years, that's about 25% of that individual's life that will be spent in retirement. So just something to think about. It is estimated that Social Security will cover about 40% of your retirement needs. So in retirement, if you have Social Security and you have a retirement account, will it be enough to sustain you in retirement? If you had an emergency today, do you have an emergency fund that you could tap into to sustain you during that financial period where you need a little bit more assistance? So the average person is going to need a replacement income of about 85%. And in the investment world, and just talking about retirement and planning for retirement, there's this little concept known as the three-legged stool. The three-legged stool of retirement. Will you need a fourth leg in your retirement stool? So 3 legs in the retirement stool is your Social Security benefit, the retirement benefit that you have in an employer-sponsored retirement plan, and the third leg is savings. So sometimes that 3-legged stool just may not be enough. So the fourth-legged stool of retirement potentially could be continuing to work when you've retired. Some of us may continue to work because our calling is so great that even in retirement, we may still want to work on a part-time basis. But for some of us, we may have to work in retirement because we didn't have enough that could sustain us while we are currently in retirement. So just a little bit of information that I wanted to share with you as we move forward. This is an article that I got from the New York Times regarding planning for retirement. It says you should start planning right now for the activities and the interests that you will have then in retirement. So one of the things that when I have conversations with folks is what you envision retirement being at age 25 may not be the same thing that you envision at age 45. So at age 25, you may think, I'm going to retire on a tropical beach with a fruity drink in my hand. And when you're 40 something or 50 something, retirement may mean I want to move closer to my grown children so that I can be a full-time grandma or grandpa and take care of, and be there for my little grandchildren that have entered my life. I may want to travel the world. May want to continue my ministerial career, working abroad, doing different things in different countries. So everybody's vision of retirement is different, but it also changes from where we are in one point in life to where we are near the end of our careers when we are truly starting to think about what retirement may offer us. So some of the takeaways that I'd like you to think about as we move forward in this discussion is think about where are you today? Where are you today financially? And have you taken the time to look at your account online with the pension boards, to look at your Social Security account, to have the discussion with your spouse and partner regarding what you have saved and what you envision retirement to be? Have you taken the steps that you need to take? Maybe you don't have an emergency account, but after hearing and seeing some of the things that happened in 2020, you now understand that sometimes there is a need to have an emergency fund and funds set aside um, for that just in case moment. Or, where do you want to be in retirement? Right now, you're in the middle of your career, you're near the end of your career, maybe you're just starting your career. But where would you like to envision retirement? It's important to set a financial goal, a spiritual goal, a mind and body goal, to know where you'd like to be as you move forward on your path so that you are retiring well and meeting the goals and expectations that you'd like to have. The annuity plan here at the pension boards, through the contributions that are made by your employer, funds are being set aside for a retirement account for you. So your employer, your church, your conference is helping you plan for your retirement future. You have the opportunity to also make personal contributions into the IRCA account, which I previously mentioned. And we're going to talk about that a little more. But the benefit of taking advantage of the IRCA account is that you can make contributions towards your financial future, but you can also, by making those pre-tax contributions, also benefit yourself now because you're reducing your current taxable obligation. And of course, one of the main benefits that you have as a minister is that you can claim housing allowance in the future. Now, of course, there has been litigation out there that has tried to take away housing allowance, but the last litigation that was out there, and I think that ended in about 2019, was overturned, and housing allowance is still available for our ministers. This is a very good benefit. In fact, as a layperson myself, I've even thought maybe I should go into ministry because that's a great tax advantage. You are able to claim funds in retirement as housing allowance and able to reduce your taxable obligation in retirement. Income at retirements. So when you have a conversation with a financial planner, a financial advisor, whether you have your own private advisor or you've taken advantage of the Ernst & Young financial planning service that the pension boards offers, you're going to have a conversation with these individuals and they're going to tell you information. Like experts say that at retirement, you will need about 85% of your current income. So if you think about your current working wage and you take 15% of it away, would you be financially okay? That is something that you want to think about, because that is potentially what your retirement will look like. If you're making X amount of dollars and you take 15% of that away, how would your financial picture look? Many of us are living a very nice life with the current wage that we make, but if we took 15% away, it could make a big difference in our financial picture. And it is estimated that Social Security is only going to cover about 40% of that need. Now, the General Synod makes a recommendation of 14% of a contribution into a minister or layperson's account within the UCC. That's the general recommendation. It's not a requirement, but statistically, when actuarial calculations were made regarding that 14%, it's estimated that with a career of 30 years and having that 14% contributed into your account, you will potentially have about 75% of the financial need that you will have. So if you may need 85% in retirement and Social Security and your pension benefit is only going to cover 75% of that, that third leg in the stool, your retirement savings, will make a difference. Your emergency fund, IRAs that you may have, will make a difference in your financial picture into retirement, making it a little bit more easier to enter into retirement. So just something to think about. Want to share more information with you regarding how you might be able to bridge that gap, or make sure that you've set aside enough so that you are retiring well. So where are you today? It's very important to take the time. Maybe you've never done this in the past. Maybe you do this all the time. But from time to time, it is important to take the time to see where you are now. When was the last time you logged into the pension board's website and reviewed the contributions that your employer is making and how much you currently have in your account, where your funds are invested? And if you did an estimate, what is that estimated amount that you could potentially have in retirement? Not only is it important to look at the pension board's website, but you also want to take a look at any other retirement accounts that you may have, the information that's being reported to Social Security. How is your credit? Maybe you're not somebody who uses your credit all the time, but is somebody else taking advantage of your credit and putting a stain on your good name that could have potentially affect you in the future? Where are the contributions that your employer making? Are they what they should be? Sometimes when we change treasurers, moderators, your new moderator may be paying you your new salary, but they forgot to send information to the pension boards to update that salary contribution for you. So even though you're seeing the financial increase in your salary that you're bringing home, it may not be made to your contribution account because your moderators knew, your treasurers knew, and they forgot that they needed to do that. So every now and then it is important to take a look at your account to make sure your information is updated. Is it time to think about where your funds are currently invested? And should you be changing where your funds are currently invested because maybe you want to take a different path towards retirement, or maybe you hear things about the market that are going on, and maybe it's time to have that conversation with a financial planner and say, hey, this is what I did. I made these elections 20 years ago when I joined the pension boards. I'm not really sure if this is the best thing for me. So it's important to take the time to just really review your account here with the pension boards, as well as any other investment accounts and retirement plans that you may have elsewhere. Now, the Employee Retirement Savings Account, or the ERCA account, which I like to call. This account here at the pension boards offers you an opportunity to increase the benefits that are currently being invested for you, or invested for you towards retirement. So this is an opportunity for you to invest in yourself and make contributions towards your retirement benefits. Maybe when you go into retirement, you are living in a parsonage now, and when you retire from ministry, you want to buy a home. Well, where are those funds going to come from? If you may, with the IRCA account, you have the opportunity to make a minimum of $25 a month pre-tax contribution that will be invested according to the different investment options that we offer, and that of course will be available to withdraw at the time of retirement to use in the manner that would work best for you. As I mentioned a little earlier, the IRCA account is available, but also it is important to make sure that if you are participating not only in the IRCA account, but having employer contributions, that from time to time you take a look at what's being reported to the pension boards, but not just to the pension boards. You also want to take the time to make sure that you are reviewing what's being reported to Social Security. I can tell you, I recently had a conversation with a member who retired, applied for Social Security at age 68, and was originally, from their estimate on Social Security, was told that they were going to receive a monthly benefit from Social Security of about $1,500. And then after Social Security reviewed their record, it appeared that that person did not pay the appropriate amount of taxes. So that Social Security was advising this person that even though they were, based on wages reported, that they were entitled to a benefit of $1,500 or $2,000, that it was going to be reduced to $600 because not enough taxes had been reported, or not enough taxes had been paid. So this minister had actually made the appropriate contributions and the appropriate taxes had been made. But because they now had to prove it to Social Security, their Social Security benefit was going to be decreased until they could provide the appropriate documentation to support that, which meant that they were going to have to dig in their records and find the W-2s from their employer to support that those taxes had been paid. So that's why it's important with the pension boards to make sure that your income isn't being underreported, but by checking in every now and then with your Social Security, that everything is being reported appropriately for you so that it will not affect you when you are in retirement trying to take advantage of benefits like Social Security. And of course, with the pension boards, to ensure that your contributions are being made according to, your contractual agreements. Contributions to the IRCA account. So these funds, just because your employer isn't participating in making contributions into the retirement account for you, does not mean that you yourself cannot participate in the IRCA account with the pension boards. The only cost to your church would be just making sure that they deduct that from your pension and pay that towards the pension boards on a monthly basis for you. And of course, if you're interested in participating in the IRCA account, or maybe increasing the benefit that you're currently contributing into the IRCA account, you can, of course, visit our website to download the form, or contact the pension boards through the chat or via email, and we will be more than happy to make sure that you have the form that you need in order to participate in the IRCA account with the pension boards. So here we have a sample of somebody who is contributing into the IRCA account $25. So $25 comes out to about $300 a month, $6.25 a week. So if an individual decided they wanted to participate in the IRCA account over a 20-year period, and they decided to be aggressive in their investment, targeting one of the more aggressive investment options that are available to our members, you can see the growth over a 5-year period, a 10-year period, 15-year period, and a 20-year period. So $11,000 at retirement, is quite a bit saved, considering $25 is all you were contributing monthly. But that easily could cover paying off debt before you actually enter retirement. Maybe you have a mortgage payment you want to finish. Maybe there's a vacation that you and your spouse or partner really wanted to take. And by saving these funds, you have an opportunity to take advantage of a trip that you'd like to take, to pay off debt, to increase the monthly benefit that you could potentially receive in retirement. Now, I'm going to use myself as a guinea pig here. Again, talking about the IRCA account, guilty pleasures. So we all have a guilty pleasure that maybe we take advantage of. For instance, going out to dinner. Maybe we're not going out to dinner, but we're ordering in right now. So ordering an appetizer, once upon a time, maybe they were $2.99, but typically now appetizers can go for $9 to $10. And that easily could be funds that you invest in yourself. Your guilty pleasure could benefit you. Me personally, I happen to like the venti specialty coffee from one of those specialty shops and a piece of banana nut bread. But by me making what I call a sacrifice, I'm able to take advantage of investing that $9 a week into myself, could equal $29, $39 a month into a retirement account. And over the period of time that I am investing those funds will eventually grow and provide me with a benefit in retirement. The pension boards does offer 11 investment options. And just looking at the information here, it can be overwhelming to someone who has zero experience in knowing which of these investment options is best for me. So of course, the pension boards, on our website, we have information that provides you with a detailed description of these different investment options. We have staff that is willing to talk you through the different options as well to give you a description of them. We also have the Ernst & Young Financial Planning Service, who will take the time to have individual conversations with each and every one of you, talking about which of these investment options is best for you. Are you someone who is a bet it all person? I want to go for the gusto. I've got a good 30 years before retirement, and I want to aggressively invest my funds. Are you someone who says, I have no idea what I should be doing, but what I do know is that I'd like to start accruing funds so that by the time I hit retirement, I'm in a good conservative space. And I don't really know what to elect here because there's so many options and the verbiage may not be easy to understand. So what we want you to know is that you have avenues that you can take by speaking with the pension boards. We can guide you to our website, which will provide you with information regarding the funds. And you can take advantage of the Ernst & Young Financial Planning Service and have a conversation with a certified financial planner who will talk to you about the different investment options. But more importantly, they're going to ask you questions about where you are and how risky you want to be or how conservative you want to be. How do you want to see your funds grow? Or are you someone who is ultra conservative and just wants to see your contributions steadily stay there with a little bit of growth, but you're very conservative in nature? So we do offer 11 different investment options. The target annuitization date funds, so although not all 6 of them are listed here, they do target a specific date. 2025, 2030, 2050 is the last one. And the way they work is they are more aggressive at the beginning of their time. So if somebody picked the target 2050 fund, right now, they're heavily invested in the more aggressive type funds. And as they get closer to that target date, and that target date is typically close to your retirement date, it will become more conservative in nature as you move forward, moving towards retirement. In addition to the employer contributions and the IRCA contributions, we also have a benefit available to you where if you had a small pension at another financial institution, you could roll those funds into the pension boards, into the rollover contribution account. This rollover contribution account would offer you an opportunity to move your funds into the pension boards without having the typical fees that you might find with other financial institutions. In addition, those funds can be claimed as housing allowance, You would indicate on the form if they were, of course, earned in a ministerial capacity, because that is what makes them eligible to be claimed as housing allowance. And we do take non-ministerial funds. So when you complete the form, if you're interested, you would identify those funds accordingly. But if they're ministerial funds, they can retain that ability to be claimed as housing allowance in retirement. In addition to that, you can elect where you'd like to have those funds invested. So you have the 10 different investment options that are available with the pension boards. And of course, with not only your employer contributions, the IRCA funds, and the rollover contribution account, you can reallocate or change how your funds are invested monthly whenever you would like to do that. So that is another advantage of moving funds from an outside institution into the pension boards. And of course, those are all pooled together to enhance and increase the retirement benefit that you could potentially receive. Pay yourself first. So here, I just wanted to give you an example. So in some of the materials that I provided to Damien, I understand that this workshop today will be available to you on YouTube, on your YouTube channel, but also I've provided 2 attachments to PDFs that I'm sure Damien will be more than happy to share with you regarding my guilty pleasures and of course, 2 examples of individuals who are investing in themselves and how their funds are working for them. So here is an example of 2 individuals. Individual A started making $2,000 contributions from age 31 to 40. So they only made the contributions for 2 years. They contributed $2,000 every year for 10 years. So the principal that that individual contributed was about $20,000. Individual B started thinking about retirement at age 41 and they were like, oh my God, I have put nothing aside. I need to start doing something. So they started putting $2,000 into a retirement account until age 65. So this individual B, has contributed $50,000, $2,000 a month from age 41 to age 65. So for 25 years, they were making these contributions. So if you see this example here that I've provided to you, individual A has more funds, even though they contributed less than individual B. And that is because time was on their side, because they had more time where their funds were invested. That doesn't mean that just because you start late, this is a bad thing, because both of those individuals, individual A and individual B, have a pretty nice little nest egg there by making those contributions of $2,000 for the year. They have both accrued over $100,000 that will benefit them in retirement. But individual A started earlier, stopped, but those funds remain invested, and it was able to provide them with a nice little nest egg to have. Individual B may have started a little later, but that's okay. They still ended up with a nice little nest egg that will also assist them in retirement. My personal mantra, which I would definitely share with you always, save early, save often, save something, even if it's $25 a month. You can start there and you will start to see that those funds work for you as you move forward planning for your retirement. So, and of course, as I mentioned, Damien will have those PDFs that he can share with you. Once you've had a career with the pension boards or wherever you may have had a career, those funds are accumulating. Employer contributions, the IRCA contributions, your personal contributions that you've made, and any rollover funds. Those are your accumulations. Over the years, they will accumulate and they will grow based on your investment allocations. And those funds are now going to be used to provide you with an annuity. And at the pension boards, the annuities that we offer provide lifetime benefits for our members. So at the time of retirement, you have the ability to take all of your personal contributions. So if we think about my 2 examples, example A, individual A and individual B. Individual A had about $138,000 of their own personal money that they contributed towards their retirement. That's $138,000 that they can withdraw at the time of retirement if they wanted to. Let's say they're living in a parsonage and they're going to move and they need to buy a home. They can use that $138,000 to pay for their home. Maybe the individual, of course, making that withdrawal will reduce their monthly benefit, but they will still have a lifetime monthly benefit, even if they only took out their personal and take all of the employer contributions and convert that into an annuity benefit. If someone needed to maximize their withdrawal, so if individual A needed to maximize their withdrawal, they could take $138,000 plus up to 20% of what the employer has contributed as a withdrawal to put into a retirement savings account with the pension boards. Maybe you'd like to roll those funds to an outside financial institution. Maybe you want to take those funds and pay it to yourself so that you can pay off debt, pay off your mortgage, or buy a home in retirement. You do have that opportunity by taking all your personal or up to 20%. Of course, you don't have to take any of those funds. At the end of the picture here is that whatever remains with the pension boards will be converted to provide you with a lifetime benefit. And if you elect one of our joint life options, will also provide your joint survivor with a lifetime benefit. And that joint survivor can be your spouse, your partner, it can be a child, it can be a friend. It's not limited to a spouse or a partner. And when you're ready to have that individualized conversation and say, hey, Anna, I'm a year away from retirement. I'm 6 months away from retirement. And I'm ready to have my individualized conversation about what I need to do to start my retirement benefits. Then you can definitely contact the pension boards. I will be more than happy to assist you. Baharu, of course, will also be more than willing to assist you to walk down that path towards retirement and see what options work best for you and which of these will reflect the best financial picture for you as you are entering retirement. So, reasons for retiring. Well, there are many reasons why folks may decide it's time to retire. Sometimes it's a family obligation, sometimes it's a health obligation, sometimes it's a theological obligation. It is important to remember that your wellness in life is important. And as you are going down the path in your career, financially, spiritually, mentally, it is important that all of these things can make the difference between retiring early or retiring later in life. There are personal reasons why folks may need to take a step back from working and start retirement. There isn't a wrong option here. There are reasons why people need to do it. And it's important to know that we understand that and we are here to assist in any way that we can. The transition. So I actually have a quote from a book by one of our members. He's a UCC clergy and he is no longer with us on this plane. He is above and an angel in the sky. His name is the Reverend Paul C. Clayton. And there is a book that he wrote called Called for Life, Finding Meaning in Retirement. Most people don't want to spend the final third of their lives doing nothing. What they want is a life that is worth living, an occupation that will help others, a retirement in which they can continue their calling. So just because you're leaving the pulpit does not mean that you're leaving ministry. The biggest surprise to me about retirement, the biggest lesson for me in retirement was that I had to take the initiative. No one came to me to say, now that you're retired, what are you interested in doing? I was the one who invented the position, applied for it, and pressed hard against the initial hesitation. So when you're ready to transition between full clergy work and moving into retirement, it's important that there is an ending, meaning announcing to your church that you're leaving, the bridge in between. meaning what are you going to do in your new life as a retiree and in new beginnings? Where do you go from here? So there are several things that you want to think about as you're going into retirement. You want to make sure that you understand and have organized your finances, because these are going to determine what you have available to you in retirement. You're going to want to look at that estimate from Social Security, maybe a little more often than you did pre-retirement, but you're going to want to look at that and start to really see that in the past, when you're 20 years from retirement, those are just numbers on paper when you're looking at that information. But when you're 6 months away from retirement or a year away from retirement and starting to plan your needs, this is becoming something solid. You're going to see what your Social Security benefit is, what your potential retirement benefit is, what you have in savings. So it's important to determine what resources do you have as you are entering retirement. It's important to also take the time to seriously think about your health and developing a healthy lifestyle. I know for a fact, based on my years of conversations with ministers, that full-time ministers don't work 40 hours a week. In fact, the days of the beeper may be gone, but I think many folks still have a cell phone that may ring at all hours when their clergy need them, when their members in their congregation needs them. Even other clergy may need you. But it is important that when you take a step back from ministry and you may be wondering, what should I be doing? One of the first things you should think about is your own health, because it is important. It is the time to start maybe a new walking habit, maybe thinking about eating a little healthier. Along the path, these are all important things that you want to think about in your transition. What new leisure activities are you going to take? For some folks, it may be being a full-time grandparent, taking care of grandchildren, a family member, finding a new calling, so to speak. If you're taking a step back from ministry and you're no longer going to be sitting on the pulpit and you're going to be sitting in the pews, how do you want to actively be involved with your new congregation? Participating in your local church, not as the leader, but as one of the priesthood of the believers. So again, from the book by the Reverend Clayton, when you retire from a church, really resign. When you retire from pastorate, really retire. No one is asking you to stop being a Christian, just to stop being the pastor at that church. Only if the former pastor really leaves will he or she be able to get on with the rest of their life. It also allows for the church to adjust to a new pastor. So I'm sure in your experiences as pastors entering new calls, whether they're interim or full-time positions, you all have stories regarding how challenging it might have been to enter in a new congregation when they had a pastor there for 20, 30 years. And some of you may have good stories and bad stories that you may recall. So these are just some of the items that Reverend Clayton put in his book just to think about. The rule of retiring is kind to the congregation. It enables the church to get on with the next state of its life with a new pastor. Of course, the pension boards, as I mentioned, is available on our website to answer any questions and concerns that you may have through a chat feature, as well as by viewing your account online to see what's going on with your own financial picture. We have information regarding the investment choices that are available to you, reports that our investment team provides, and the changes that we're making as we move forward, trying to become more available to our members, not only in on the phone, but actually in a virtual sense. And this past year has definitely pushed that forward quite a bit. As you know, we've offered online billing, and although we've had some bumps in the road, we are definitely moving forward with that. Of course, we are on social media, and we do have different webinars, different videos available to you that provide information regarding the IRCA account, employer contributions, the two investment options that are available at retirement, and other benefits that we offer, like health and annuity supplementation for low-income retirees, because we are always walking hand in hand with our members as they're working, when they're retiring, and into retirement. We are there providing services for our members, and we want you to know that we are always sharing information with you and for you. When you're ready to annuitize or start retirement, I want you to know that we are available to you by calling our 1-800 number, by visiting our website and speaking with the chat, and indicating that you're ready to start the retirement process. You can request a retirement packet. Once you receive that retirement packet, Baharu and I will be more than happy to have individualized conversations with you regarding the options that are available to you, and definitely breaking it down to bite-sized pieces to make this information easier for you to understand and to help you have peace of mind that the elections that you're making are the best elections for you. And I want to thank you very much on behalf of the pension boards and, of course, our president, Brian Bodiger, for allowing us to be here with you today and share this information with you. These are, of course, some helpful links. Our link for the pension board's website, the Ernst & Young financial planning link, and of course, we definitely would recommend visiting Social Security to provide you with additional information. So thank you very much. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to thank Damien for having us here today and open up the floor to questions.
Thank you, Anna, and we appreciate having you here with us today and offering us an opportunity to learn more about the pension board for those of us thinking about retirement, those of us that might already be in retirement. So yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It was a pleasure. I do see it looks like we have a few questions in the chat box here. Oh, thank you, Baharu. Great. Providing great information there. And I just also want to, as we go through here, taking a look at the question that we have, also want to share, if any of you have individual questions, as I said, you can contact the pension boards. You can indicate that you'd like to have a conversation with myself, Anna Blandino, or Baharu Mengistu regarding the options that are available to you because you are preparing for retirement or thinking about retirement, and you would like to know what options are available to you on an individual level, meaning you want to say, hey, Anna, can you take a look at my account? I'm 5 years from retirement, this is what I'm thinking, or I'm thinking about leaving a call and then moving to start my retirement in 5 years. Is there something that I should be doing? Definitely. When was the last time that you updated your beneficiaries? Many of us have life-changing events. I've seen this happen in my 16 years here, where somebody gets a divorce, somebody loses a spouse or a partner, and they, clearly in the moment you are focused on dealing with the loss of that loved one or welcoming a new family member, but we forget to update our beneficiaries. So it's important to take the time. Are your beneficiaries updated? God forbid you get called early. Is everything in place so that the person who's going to handle your records, are they going to be able to know where to go and know to contact us regarding a pension account that you may have with the pension boards or with any account that you may have? It's important to remember that, we will have a conversation with you, and definitely Ernst & Young will have a more detailed financial conversation with you about any financial type questions that you may have. Tax related questions, elder care questions, planning for, student loan debt, just debt in general. And of course, am I making the right decisions with my retirement account that I currently have? Let's see here.
The question from Mary is, it's an excellent one, actually. The idea of, you're very right, that the 403B plan that the pension boards offers through the UCC is very much akin to a 401k. They're the same sort of plan. And so they are individualized retirement plans. And while the orientation of our retirement plans is based on an individual way, the idea of the more about having economic sharing in retirement is something that you may want to bring up on a national scale, in terms of like the General Synod or at the national office. While we do have ministerial assistance with regards to, like you mentioned, the Christmas Fund, all of those sort of grant programs, there's a pension supplementation program as well. All of those are geared toward more individual plans, geared toward the individual retirement assistance. So that is an excellent question, and one that should be brought up, and that you should speak to. I think on a more national scale might be better for you.
I see Gail asked a question regarding what time to start your annuity. So that's a great question. I can tell you that you are going to know when to start retirement the best, but there is nothing within the pension board that says at age this you must start. That is a completely individual election that you will make. We have some folks who never start their annuity because maybe they have other resources and they decide to leave their account at the pension boards as a legacy account, meaning that is what they're going to leave to their heirs. The only thing that will absolutely have to happen is that when you turn that magic number 72, a required minimum distribution has to happen. So that's basically IRS saying, we want a little something. We want a little of what you've saved up. And if you're not choosing to take it as an annuity and pay taxes on that, we want you to take a withdrawal so that we can potentially receive a little of that. Even though as a minister, claim housing allowance, and chances are you're going to get that reimbursed to you when you file your taxes the next year. That is the only action step that you ever have to take with your pension here at the pension boards. Right now, those funds are accumulated. You can choose to, I can tell you officially, a year ago, I would tell you my oldest retiree was 77, and this year we will have a retiree who is 78. So I just announced to him that he beat out my oldest retiree, and he is starting retirement at age 77. I can tell you we've also had folks start at age 55, which is the early retirement age, because they were in a position where they needed to start retirement for health reasons. It was a necessity. For personal reasons, people leave the call and may need to start benefits. But our oldest retiree was 77. We have folks that have never started their pensions. They just have made sure that their beneficiaries are updated because this is their legacy account. So you don't have to start, but you should definitely, this is one of those great questions where you individually have to ask yourself, am I ready to start this? Do I need to start this? Maybe this is something that I want to leave for my heirs. Do we have any other questions? I want to definitely. Sure, Andrea.
I have a question that I'm not quite sure how to word, so hopefully it'll come out in an understandable way. As a person for whom retirement is probably 30 plus years away, how do you advise younger folks to take Social Security into consideration, given the somewhat questionable sustainability of how Social Security has operated?
A great question. It is a great question. So first of all, I truly believe that Social Security is not going away anytime soon. In fact, I just attended an EY presentation where, again, they talked about the sustainability of Social Security and what it will potentially be in the future. Now, for many of us, we know that Social Security, I truly believe, and just in some of the materials that I've read, Social Security is not going away. It'll be more expensive to get rid of it or to find a substitute for it. But Social Security will be restructured. I have no doubt of that. As many of you in this room know, the full retirement age for Social Security used to be 65 for everybody. It's not 65 for everybody anymore. It's only 65 for certain folks, and everybody else, it's 66 and 2 months, 66 and 4 months, 66 and 8 months, and 67 is the retirement age for most of us, is the full retirement age. So I have no doubt that Social Security is going to be restructured. And I wouldn't be surprised if the full retirement age for Social Security in 10 to 15 years is age 70. I would not be surprised that it is moved up. And they restructured this because at the time, the government was having an issue with how were they going to pay and fund all of our retirees who were receiving Social Security. So the way that they were able to get a hold of the Social Security crisis, so to speak, was they restructured it. And they restructured it by saying, okay, well, if were born as of this date, your full retirement age isn't going to be until 66 and 2 months. So that restructuring, so to quote unquote, sort of saved Social Security. But again, it is always brought up in different times for different conversations. So you definitely want to include it in your financial picture, but you also want to think about that's not your only bucket. I mean, it is true. I mean, I'm sure we have folks in this room, you know, someone in your life who has no retirement income at all except Social Security. And you know those folks, they may be in your congregations, and you know that they have a very limited budget, and that they give with everything in their heart to their congregation, but these folks are living on very little. And because, you know, times have changed, and in those times, most folks would retire thinking, and no, well, only with the idea that Social Security is the only thing that's going to support me in retirement, because I had 5 kids and I sent 3 of them to school, and I had a mortgage, and my spouse died, and I had to be a single parent and maintain this household. So there are many reasons why folks may not have. It also wasn't really talked about a lot because Social Security, everybody's like, oh, Social Security. But, you know, if you look at that, you know, it's not going to sustain you. You shouldn't bank on it, but I would definitely say it's going to be there. It may be restructured, and maybe for you, maybe it'll be 75.
I joke all the time that retirement age will be 80 when I get there.
Well, you know, and for everyone, it's different. You know, I personally, I have a special needs child. And so I think, you know, I pray every day, Lord, let her be an independent little person one day. But if she can't, I have to plan for possibly sustaining her when I'm not here. So that's something that I always consider in my own financial picture. Everybody's picture is different. Maybe someone is going into retirement, but mom lives with them now, or dad's living with them now because they can't live on their own. But I mean, the cost of living in a retirement facility is just astronomical. You know, it's like $5,000, and it's not the best place. You know, living in a retirement community can be very expensive, you know. And so these are just some of the things that we want to think about. Retiring well means that Andrea, you have the advantage of time. Those of us who don't have, you know, 30 years in front of us, that does not mean that 10 years is not something that we shouldn't be taking advantage of, because 10 years of investing in yourself can make a big difference in your financial picture in the future.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Thanks for the great question. Well, I want to thank you all for having us here today. Of course, Damien, thank you so much for inviting us to be with you. I understand that tomorrow Ernst & Young will be visiting with you, and I do think it would be a great, definitely a great seminar to attend, especially if they are going to touch on Social Security and, of course, Medicare and some of those other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you both for coming and being with us today, and allowing us to record the session as well, so that we can share it on our YouTube channel and allow others to come and watch it at a later date if they missed it. It was such great information. I know that the pension board for me has been a huge benefit to being a pastor, and I've appreciated also that connection with Ernst & Young to help for myself and our family to kind of plan ahead. I've already forewarned all of my children that they're each going to have an independent living spot for me on their property, so they know that going into life, so that I have free housing for the rest of my life. But not all of us are so beneficial, right?
Oh, I know. They'll just have to build you a little, studio in the backyard. It'll work.
That's it. That's right. That's right. Well, thank you again. I appreciate your time and all the information you shared. And again, we'll share some of that information as well
Sounds
with
good.
the posting on YouTube. So thanks again.
You are very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Mhm.
All right. Take care all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.